The objective of this pierce and notch job is to form sunroof rails. The equipment used includes a press, a work table, and a cart. The tools used include a spray bottle with water-soluble oil, calipers to check part quality, and an air gun. The materials used include sunroof rails, a pallet, and wood pieces. The work environment is an inside work environment with heat and no air conditioning. The personal protective equipment includes safety glasses, hearing protection, and gloves. The worker observed was 5 feet 11 inches tall. The work methods for the observed pierce and notch job begins by getting the sunroof rail. Then the worker positions the rail in the press at position 1. The worker then activates the press via the press palm buttons. The worker then gets the rail from position 3. Next, the rail is positioned on the stack of completed rails. The worker then gets a rail from position 2. Workers then turn the rail over. Next, the worker will position the rail in the press at position 3. Then they will get the rail from position 1. Workers then rotate the rail 180 degrees. And then workers will position the rail in position 2 of the press. Some irregular tasks included quality checks were conducted every 15 minutes. Rails were sprayed with water-soluble oil. The worker would also use the air gun to remove particles from the rails. Finally, workers would position 2 wood pieces between each layer of rails. There were several ergonomic risk factors associated with the pierce and notch job. Repeated and sustained exertions were rated as a medium-high pace. Hands were in constant steady motion and exertion to get and position sunroom rails. Sustained exertions were observed and included continuous standing. Forceful exertions were required to get and position the sunroof rails. They were also required to spray rails with the water-soluble oil. Awkward postures were observed and include forearm pronation or palm down, and supination or palm up to get and position rails in the press. Elevated arms were used to spray oil on the rails and to press the palm buttons. Torso flexion or forward bending and extended arms were observed to get and position the rails on the pallets. Wrist extension or backwards bending and deviation or sideways bending were observed when the worker positioned the rail in the press. Neck flexion or forward bending was observed when workers checked rail quality with the calipers. The mechanical or localized contact stress observed was contact stress between the hands and the edges of the rails. It's important to note that gloves are worn. The recommendations for the pierce and notch job include: investigate using height-adjustable lift tables for the pallets of rails to decrease posture stress. Consider using automatic oil sprayers that are positioned in the press to decrease awkward postures and forceful exertions. Investigate eliminating the spray bottles with water-soluble oil if the oil is not required. This would decrease awkward postures and forceful exertions. Investigate an alternate placement for the palm buttons that is coupled with other machine guarding mechanisms, for example light curtains, to decrease posture stress that occurs when activating the press.